Okay, so what would you like to talk about today?
Okay, so I have been having some relationship issues the past few months, I guess. To give you some context, my boyfriend and I have been together for about like a year and 2 months now.
Okay.
But like we've known each other for years and years. Like we have kind of a complicated like history, but when we got together just like over a year ago now, it was like super, super great. The first part of the relationship, like I was so happy. And then all of a sudden, like over the summer, it was like a switch flipped, and all of a sudden it kind of feels like he's being really like overbearing and clingy, and like I want to sound mean when I say this, like almost over emotional. Like I'm a very emotional person, and he's like his emotions are like too much for me right now.
Okay.
And it's kind of, I don't know, it's really distressing for me because I like want to be with him for so long, and I'm like I am happy being with him, but like the person who I thought like he was in the beginning kind of is like different than who he is now.
Okay, tell me more about what happened over the summer, like what changed.
Yeah, so I guess I don't really know like when or like what specific event like made it happen, but I guess it just kind of turned into him like whenever I go out like with friends or anything, he gets like really nervous. Not that like I'll cheat on him or anything, but that like say something bad will happen to me or something like that, and then it's like if I don't like text him back right away, he gets like really, I don't know, not like mad, but he like asks me like, oh, like what's wrong, like are you okay, stuff like that. And I guess he's I don't know, just wants to spend like all of his free time with me. And I guess I don't know, for me I want like a balance between spending my free time with like my friends and family and him, and then just myself. So it's kind of weird seeing him like, because he didn't always used to be like this, so I'm also trying to think like what's going on in his life that's like made him switch too.
Okay, so you're feeling overwhelmed because of his constant of wanting to be with you and texting you all the time and worrying about you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's weird because in the beginning of the relationship, I was like kind of anxious about it just because he's like broken up with me in the past. So like when we got back together, I was like really nervous, and I was the one who was probably like texting too much, like the one who was being overbearing and nervous about it. And then like, and I've asked him like why all of a sudden it's turned around, and he doesn't really know either, because like it's like we've kind of like flipped from like me caring like way too much, now him caring way too much. So we're trying to figure out like this isn't sustainable, how do we like meet in the middle.
Right. So what was the conversation like between you two when you were talking about that?
It was pretty emotional. We've had like 2 major talks. We had one over the summer when it first started happening.
Okay.
And it like I thought it went well, and he seemed really receptive and was like totally like, yeah, I'll change. And then he kind of just like didn't, and so I kind of just like expected it to maybe get better, but then it didn't again. So then maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago we had another conversation that was like pretty intense, just because and he also has like some issues with like his family, and like he has some anxiety himself that's gotten really bad. And so we kind of talked about that, and he was just like he wanted to like do anything he could just to make sure like we don't like break up, because like neither of us want that, but also this isn't like sustainable the way it is now.
Okay, so on the one hand, you're telling me that that you are like overwhelmed and nervous about him, but on the other hand, you don't want to break up. Okay,
yeah. Yeah, and that's like I'm like kind of battling that within myself too, because it's like, yeah, on the one hand like I'm annoyed and frustrated and overwhelmed, but on the other hand it's like I can't picture myself being with anybody else and like not like spending the rest of my life with him. So it's like, but I also don't want to do that while feeling that way, so I'm like trying to figure out like, I don't know, how can I choose, you know?
Right. Has there been anything in the past that has been like this as well?
Like, not particularly. I mean, it hasn't really been like an issue until like more recently, I guess. But I mean, we like met back in middle school, and we dated like, you know, middle school dating like for like a month or whatever. Yeah. And then he broke up with me, and it was just dramatic. And then I dated another guy for like 4 years, and then like we got back together like for like 2 months right after me and him broke up, because me and Max or whatever, then he broke up with me again because he was really overwhelmed with school and like wanted to focus on school. And so we've kind of like been on and off, which isn't like super healthy, but we've both changed a lot since we have like stopped seeing each other now that we're back together now. So I don't know, it's like frustrating because we like both have put a lot of effort into the relationship because we both like love each other and want it to work. But I don't know, we're both at this like weird point where it's like, I don't know, like doesn't seem like he's changing his behavior all that much, which is frustrating.
Okay. So you're taking a risk talking about your feelings and talking about your relationship with, is it Max?
Tommy now.
Tommy. Okay. So you're taking a big risk by talking about Tommy, and how does that make you feel here?
It is like a little weird because I guess I don't really talk about this super frequently, just because. Did you take intimate relationships?
I have not.
Okay, so in that class they talk about not like, so I think it's like triangulating or something. It's like not like involving other people in your relationship, especially like talking bad about them, because then that person will end up having bad feelings about your partner. And so I did that a lot in the past with me and Tommy, so I don't want to do that again. But then I'm also stuck in this place where like, well, who do I talk about this with that's not him, you know?
Right.
So yeah, it is a little vulnerable, but feels good to talk about.
Okay, so tell me more about what your relationship has been in the past, like even in like middle school.
Yeah, he, I don't know, cares about me a lot, and he's really, really sweet, and he, like, I don't know, he's like romantic, and he's a really, really good person. And even like the first half of our relationship, like this time around was like awesome, because he's super attentive, like always puts my needs first and stuff like that. So, and it's not like he doesn't do that now. It's almost the way where it's like too much, and I'm kind of just like gotta like pump the brakes, and it's like, I know I'm like great, but like not that great, like calm down type of thing.
Okay, so I know that you're telling me that you're feeling overwhelmed with everything, but could you potentially be feeling maybe a little bit nervous about this relationship?
Yeah, definitely, because it's like, I don't know, like I said earlier, like I don't really picture myself being with anybody else, but I am nervous that it's like, well, we've talked about it and nothing's really changed, so it's like, I don't know, I'm nervous that it's not ever going to change, which also I need to put my feelings first, like my, like, I don't know, well-being, I guess, and if I'm going to be like this all the time, like, we really have to think about, like, is it worth it, too?
Right, okay, so I know this might not be similar at all, but when it comes to school, I know that I can be really overwhelmed with everything, and then I know that I can be, like, nervous about everything, and then I'm afraid, like, if I am not going to put forth, like, the change, that it, like, will, like, I won't be able to finish my assignments, and I won't be able to do everything, so I kind of understand how you're feeling with, like, being overwhelmed, but also being nervous about it.
Yeah, yeah, I know, it's just, like, I don't know, because like right now we're kind of planning the future a little bit, I guess, so because he's a year younger than me, so I'm going to graduate this year, he's graduating next year, and so we're kind of like having a tentative plan of us like moving like over to Colorado, kind of where his sister is. We're really close with his sister, and we both kind of want to be away from Minnesota for a bit. And I'm a planner, so like I like having my plans set in stone, but then that part of me is really nervous. It's like, what if we move out there and then like nothing really changes and it's still like this, and it's like, then what if we like happen to break up and now I'm in Colorado with him, which would not be ideal.
Is he also a planner?
Yeah, he is a little bit like less of a planner than me, but he's like open to like me having this plan, I guess, if that makes sense.
What have you guys talked about in the past, planning-wise?
Like, I don't know, I know we've planned on, like, I guess, we also kind of talked about, like, our future plan, like, when it comes to, like, getting married, starting a family, too. And, like, whenever we, like, kind of talk about things, like, we're both, like on the same page, which is nice. So, it's never been, like, us disagreeing about the plans, which is kind of one less thing for us to worry about.
So, over the session, I know you've told me about that you've been overwhelmed and you've also been nervous about the relationship, but I also hear that you're talking about planning with him and everything, and that you have just had some just little bumps in the road with him.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
Great. How long was that?